Hey guys, Andy Broom, Vice President of CGC Cards, and you're listening to the Sports Card Strategy Show, and there's no off season.
What's up, everyone? Buckeye Dill here. You're listening to the Sports Card Strategy Show, part of the NoOffSeason.com Sports Network. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to stick around for top-notch advice on how to stay up to date with your sports card investment portfolio, because remember, there is no off season.
What's up, everybody? I'm Paul Hickey with NoOffSeason.com. This is the Sports Card Strategy Show. Don't forget to get a free 30-day trial at NoOffSeason.com today to help you make money flipping sports cards, build your sports card investment portfolio, get unlimited advice from our experts, and take sports card school to navigate the hobby. That's NoOffSeason.com. Get your free 30-day trial today. All the data we use on the Sports Card Strategy Show is from MarketMoversApp.com. Use code NOOFFSEASON at MarketMoversApp.com to get 20% off for life after a free 14-day trial. All right, let's get to the Sports Card Strategy. I mean, Buckeye Dill just said it, everybody. Top-notch advice. Top-notch advice. I'm Paul Hickey with NoOffSeason.com. He's Lefty McKee with NoOffSeason.com and Lefty Cards. We're here. It's the Sports Card Strategy Show, everybody. Lefty's had a couple of weeks off. It's good to have him back. Lefty, how you doing, man?
Come on, my man. I'm excited. I'm ready to get back in the saddle with the Dave Ramsey of Sports Cards, Paul Hickey.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. Today we're going to talk about some of my latest PSA reveals, and we'll talk to you about anything that you want to talk about along those lines as well, because I know you got a lot going on, but I wanted to share with the audience my PSA reveal, and some of the customers at NoOffSeason.com, the premium members now can submit through us. And so grades are popping left and right, baby, because we started making submissions back in August, and they're already on and popping just, about 30 to 45 days later. Pretty quick turnaround for PSA, about 30 to 45 days on target there. Not as fast as CGC Cards, the perfect place to slab your favorite sports cards. From their crystal clear holders to their affordable pricing, CGC Cards is the perfect stop for your grading needs. Go to cgccards.com to start grading today. They turn it around. Andy Kaysen's been saying they turn it around in 5 days. Now, I will say this. I sent in a CGC submission longer than 5 days ago. Don't have it back yet, but they did charge my credit card. So maybe that means that I'm about to get it back. I'll talk about that in a future episode. Top 5 sports cards to buy, graded, and flip. We won't necessarily do top 5. We're going to talk about top sports card opportunities to buy, graded, and flip. We're going to talk about just how hard that is to make happen. Music City Collectibles show this weekend. That's right down the road from me, Lefty McKee, in Franklin, Tennessee. It's billed as a Nashville show, of course, but it's in the great city of Franklin, where my actual mailing address is. So I'm excited to set up there. And I know PSA is going to be there. I know a lot of big autograph signers are going to be there. It was actually a pretty big show last year. I didn't set up. I'm excited to set up this year. And then a couple more things I want to talk about, Lefty. So Panini Instant has been a big part of our plays lately. So we're going to talk about that. But within the Panini Instant family, they have launched NIL. NIL is a specific sub-brand of not only the Panini Instant, but it's also its own brand within the Panini ecosystem. I talked with Jason Howarth, their SVP of Athlete Relations and Marketing, about that. And I'm going to drop that interview with Jason on Monday's show because I figured you and I would use this full time to talk about Panini NIL, Panini Instant, because about like yesterday, it was about 25 hours away in just a few hours from now. So those of you watching live or listening on the podcast app right after we drop the episode, there's going to be the opportunity for you guys to get into a Panini Instant NIL drop. It's actually, Lefty, we've got 55 minutes and 8 seconds. So it's going to be at the end of this episode. I want to talk to you during this episode about should we buy any of these cards and why, and how that kind of goes in with our Panini Instant plays. I know you and Turner talked a little bit about it on Lefty Cards on Monday. That was great stuff out of you guys. What do you think? Let's work backwards here. What do you think about Panini Instant? Where's your head at with it?
Well, I mean, I'm obviously a Panini Instant fan. The NIL deal specifically is probably good for the hobby, but good for the athletes. NIL in general and college football or even college sports in general has been murky waters. Let's just say that. It has changed a lot, but also has adjusted a lot. But there are some names in here that I'm particularly drawn to. We've got, Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning both having cards in here. We've got Jalen Milroe, which is not as exciting, but Cam Ward is exciting. We've got guys like Riley Leonard in here. Of course, 2 different cards for Arch Manning, which is pretty funny. You've got the sideways one and the upright one, and I'll probably go more the upright. I think I will be getting some of these cards, Paul, because I think there will be so many selling opportunities specifically for Arch Manning. I cannot tell you how excited I am to get a bulk order of these in 55 minutes and 15 seconds.
I think the bulk order is one play. I think also one thing I wanted to mention is the autographs for Arch Manning. Like his autographs from Panini earlier releases. So he was in Chronicles draft picks with an optic rated prospect auto. He was in Prism draft picks with Saturday Star signatures auto. I've already owned and flipped all these cards. He was even in Immaculate Collegiate. I mean, he's got, like, for anyone who's uneducated on Arch Manning cards, he already has a ridiculous amount of cards. So these aren't like, this is not a new situation where we're seeing Arch Manning cards. He's even, of course, like you and I and a lot of people in the nooffseason.com fam participated in the original Prism drop that didn't have really any kind of designation around like being a prospect or being a rookie or anything like that. It was just a Prism throwback Panini Instant situation. They also had limited edition autographs in that drop. A lot of us made money on the ordering online and then grading at PSA. I will say this. I mean, when I look at the decision, whether or not to try to get into this drop, there, like you said, there's 2 different sort of sets of cards. One is vertical, the other is horizontal. They each drop in 53 minutes from when we're talking right now. And they're also, in addition to the base of each, which we could all go and get, because they're going to print as many as people order within an ordering period. But there's only 99 of each of the base autos. So they call it a base out of 99 auto. Really, it's a short print out of 99 auto. Then there's 25 jungle autos out of 25. And there's 10 Jaguar autos. And there's 1 Blue Viper auto for each. Now, the Blue Viper is $2,000. The Jaguar out of 10s are $600. The Jungle out of 25s are $400. The base out of 99s are $250. Now, I think we all have to ask ourselves, and there's non-autos. So there's non-auto Blue Viper 1 of 1 for $600. White Tiger out of 5 for $100. These are Arch Manning, by the way. And then they're priced differently. Riley Leonard has them. Cam Ward has them. And Quinn Ewers has them. But they're priced differently per player. I think Arch is probably at the top of the pricing scale. And I think you have to look at what do these guys' other autos go for? Like Arch, the raw Saturday Star signatures auto with the rated prospect just sold yesterday for $610 on 43 bids. So you look at a $610, not his first, although it does say rated prospect. These have NIL. I call them shields. Jason from Panini, they call them badges at Panini. So they might start calling them shields since Sports Card Strategy Show is going to be bigger than Panini one day.
Come on.
So the NIL shield, I mean, it's not like a rookie card shield, but it is a designation that makes the card unique. And I mean, I think the out of 99, when you look at a $250 price point, to be able to flip that almost immediately afterwards, let alone later this season, I think that's a potential 1.5, 2x. I mean, I don't know that all of these are great investments, but I think that one is. What do you think?
Yeah, I think honestly, I didn't even consider the auto when I was thinking about it originally, but now the out of 99 at $250 for the up and down Arch Manning. For some reason, aesthetically, for me, I'm just an up and down card guy. I don't know if that's because they look great in the grading, when they're graded and all that kind of stuff. But there is one a little bit further down that we've been talking about as well. There's $250 for Dylan Raiola auto out of 99 as well. So that, I believe, would be the first card that I've seen of his that's out there.
And those are actually available now. That's part of an earlier drop. So full disclosure, I went ahead and ordered because you and Turner talked a little bit about this on Lefty Cards, and I think, and we'll still go through some opportunities of the top cards to buy graded and flip. But I think just to take a quick detour on today's show and just talk about some things that aren't formula related. We all know how much I love the formula, and I do make most of my plays based on the formula, but I do think, I am earning money pretty consistently on these Panini instant plays on the pro quarterbacks, the Bo Nix, the Caleb Williams plays, the Jaden Daniels plays, and I even participated in the Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr. base card plays. But I want everybody to know I actually bought a Jalen Milroe, the vertical base out of 99 auto for $150. In the same order, I got a Jungle out of 25 Jalen Milroe auto that was $225, and a Cam Ward base auto out of 99 for $50. And so if we go, if we look at whether or not those cards are still available out of that release, I just kind of want to see, are the ones that I bought still available? And if they are, I guess that's not necessarily a bad thing for me. But if they aren't, then that could be an indicator that I did make a good decision, because it looks like the Milroe's still available. So we don't know how many more out of 99 are available. The Milroe out of 20, the Milroe out of 25 still available. And there's a Jaguar out of 10 still available. So people can still go get these if you want. If you want to follow my plays, you can still go get these. I think you have to be pretty selective though, Lefty, because if you start adding all these guys that you want into your cart, I mean, you're gonna blow your wad. Like it's gonna be so much money in the cart. You got to be careful.
Man, I just believe in this Dylan kid. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I think the media is there. I think the play is there. I think him being associated with Patrick Mahomes is juicing his value, and he's only a freshman.
He looks. I'm with you. I've never been more excited. Like you and I have been talking about college football cards for a long time now, but I don't know that I've ever been more excited about college football cards. I just think
I would agree.
These quarterbacks in here, we've talked about a lot of these guys for a long time. The Carson Becks, the Riley Leonards, the Quinn Ewerses, the Shedeur Sanderses of the world. And I'm on Milroe now. I know a lot of people are on Cam Ward, so I actually got 2 of his autos. I got 2 out of the 99 ones to let everybody know. So I think that's well priced at $50. I think there's a lot of room to make money on these Panini instant cards. And I think that Dylan Raiola's right there. I did order a couple Dylan Raiola base from the college.paniniamerica.net website, where you can go do that. So I don't know, I don't know that I'm ready to go all in on a Raiola auto just yet, but maybe. I mean, maybe. Here's why I didn't.
I am ready. So personally, I'm going to pull the trigger on this one, and then maybe 1 or 2 Arch autographs in the next hour.
Are you going to? Okay, so I'm with you. I think so. The reason I didn't buy the Raiola out of 99 auto for $250 is because, to me, when you can get, I just want to double check my pricing here. I mean, Arch Manning is the same price and Jalen Milroe is $100 less. And so I would actually like to know from everybody out there. This is going to be an interesting thing to follow throughout the college football season. These cards are making college football so much more exciting for me. Just
Yeah.
I'm into college football now because of these cards. And like, I just think when you look at Alabama as almost, I don't want to jinx it, but pretty much a shoe-in for the college football playoffs, and Jalen Milroe putting up the numbers he's putting up, being way more likely to win the Heisman than Dylan Raiola, right? How do you price a Dylan Raiola same exact card $100 more than Jalen Milroe? Like, how do you justify the Dylan Raiola? Now, because to me, I think the profit materializes faster on a Jalen Milroe. And that's why I went ahead and went Milroe and Ward over Raiola. Not that I don't love Raiola. It's just that is Raiola going to do something later this year that's going to make the value of that $250 card go up versus Milroe doing something later this year that's going to make the value of the $150 card go up. So that's where my mind was at.
Yeah, I think the runway of selling opportunities is much longer with Raiola as a college quarterback, and so because he's only a freshman. But I will say the out of 99 pre-sale has already sold for $400 on eBay, which is crazy because people can just go get it for cheaper, $100 cheaper from Panini's website.
That's crazy.
But there are some others listed for $399, so it's not like people are flying off the shelves to get these. But they just look so much nicer than his.
Still easy money. It's a sick looking card, the Dylan Raiola one that you're going to buy.
They look better than his national debut card that is out there that is selling for quite a bit of money. I mean, there's one with 32 bids on it for $510. So it's like, but that's the out of 9. But still, like, the guy is clearly going to sell at some point, and it's like, do we want to get on him later or do we want to get on him now? That's where I'm at.
I mean, I don't think there's a wrong answer. I just think, like, if you've got the funds, $250 for a Dylan Raiola auto is a great deal. I think that Milroe's card costs less because it doesn't have the Alabama licensing. That's probably why there's no Jalen Milroe card that I'm aware of that has the Alabama licensing on it. Cause even the Panini releases do not have Alabama licensing. And I have not seen Jalen Milroe in a Bowman U set, which could hurt the value potentially of some of these cards for Milroe if he does have a first Bowman in an upcoming 2024 Bowman U football, but probably won't kill it too much. I just think the college football card market is out of all the emerging markets, right? Like, I know you like tennis. I know you like F1. I know you like soccer. I know a lot of people out there are right there with you. You're not the only one. And I know there's a lot of people that like golf and a lot of other sort of emerging sports card markets. To me, the one I like the most is college football.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah.
It's got the most eyeballs for sure, and names.
Yep. And just the whole pathway to the NFL draft, the NFL preseason, where there's a lot of hype around these guys.
There's so many
sort of like that's like a backup plan, right? Like if you buy, I mean, and kind of back to where we were going earlier with the Raiola versus Milroe. To me, Milroe materializes in a massive profit in December, January. If you're more patient, maybe Raiola materializes more next year, early next year. Maybe he's a Heisman favorite,
This is the year that they have the 12 college football playoff, right?
Correct.
Nebraska could end up in that 12 too, though.
They could, but they just lost to Illinois.
Which was
They're
a ranked team, and they went into overtime with them.
True. No, I mean, Nebraska, like, I don't have their schedule in front of me, but you're absolutely right. Like, Nebraska could, the other guy I'm interested in, there's so many guys that I'm buying that are in here, and I'm not necessarily buying all of their Panini instant NIL stuff, but Julian Sayin. I just bought a Julian Sayin card from the National.
Dude, Nebraska's
serial numbered.
schedule is brutal.
Who do they got? Who do they got in the Big Ten?
Well, they have Ohio State and USC to go. They still have to play Iowa, which is not going to be a cakewalk. And then they have Rutgers, who's played people well. Yeah, you're probably right.
How much does the Arch Manning Blue Viper 1/1 auto go for on the secondary market? It's $2,000. How much does that go for, do you think? Is that too risky?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, his base, what are they selling for? 800?
Yeah, his Saturday Star Signatures, which has like the rated prospect logo on it, and it's a sticker
the
auto.
number one ranked Formula Raw card, by the way.
It is, yeah. Good call out there. Absolutely, the number one ranked Formula Raw to grade. I mean, so the largest recent Arch Manning sale that I'm looking at, which probably isn't the largest. It's just, I'm just looking at it on eBay real quick. September 22nd, his Prism Draft Picks Saturday Star Auto Gold out of 10 PSA 9 sold for $3,255 on 48 bids. And that's out of 10. It's obviously Prism Draft Picks, so it's a more recognizable brand that people probably like, but I don't know, dude, like 1/1 Blue Viper in a Panini instant. Like, I'm kind of laughing saying it because who knows what that would sell for?
I mean, I think at least 3,500 probably.
Probably. I mean, it probably depends. Like, I mean, Texas is number one in the country. If he goes out and has a big game in the stat column and Texas keeps winning, I mean, like, I would get in on as many of these 9 out of 99 Arch Manning autos as you can afford.
Yeah,
there's going to be more comps on those, right? So
you've talked me out of the Raiola for now. I'm definitely going to get into Raiola at some point, but I think we're looking at their schedule saying Ohio State and USC are coming, which is, by the way, that's going to be an electric matchup. We might have to stream that one. Raiola against Miller Moss. Holy moly, what a
your
matchup.
Guy.
Like, Miller Moss and Raiola are my two guys right now that I am so high on in the next year. But I mean, even Arch Manning too. That's 3 electric quarterbacks that cannot be drafted. Wait, Miller Moss can be drafted, I think, but the other two have to stay in college football for at least another season or two. So
I'm a Raiola believer. I'm an Arch Manning believer, and I mean,
Miller Moss is my guy.
I know he's your guy. I know you like him. I really was pulling for him against that team from Ann Arbor last weekend, but the defense couldn't stop him. I don't think it was Miller Moss's fault at all.
No.
I watched that game, but I know he's your guy. So, okay, here's what I'll say. The takeaway, this is a good discussion. I mean, there's a lot of enthusiasm coming from Lefty and I on these cards. Here's what I want everybody to know. We're not saying go in and buy all of these cards. I think Arch Manning, you're probably selling the cards that we've been talking about buying, unless you're going to do like the raw to grade thing that the formula says. I think you're probably selling a lot of the Arch Manning cards that we've literally been talking about these Arch Manning cards for almost 2 full years now. We've been talking about these Arch Manning cards. So if you're new to the Sports Card Strategy Show, the sales data that I've given you off of eBay, when you're looking at those cards, I'd be careful to buy in right now. I really, really would. I think you're buying in at a point that's very, very dangerous unless you have a raw to grade play. I think for the ones we're talking about with the Panini instant release that's 36 minutes away, that even if you're listening to this back 24 hours from now, 48 hours from now, you could still go get the base cards. I think the base cards, especially if you're a beginner, right? If you're new to the hobby, if you're new to trying to make money flipping sports cards, I think this Arch Manning, I would avoid the horizontal one like Lefty's talking about, because the sales data really always supports the vertical cards selling better than the horizontal cards, really regardless of sport, regardless of set, it just vertical sells better. It just does. And so I think the Arch Manning 2024 Panini Instant College Football number AMA base, to get 25 of those would be a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in full disclosure, I'm doing that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if the show goes silent for like 10 minutes at the end of the show.
It's better than this play, and we've just made this one.
Yeah, and actually that one's pretty, I mean, that one's actually going pretty well. Let's get to that in a second. I think what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to avoid the Quinn Ewers. He just doesn't sell as well. I'll tell you right now, Riley Leonard doesn't sell as well. I would avoid the Riley Leonard. I think Arch Manning, base
Cam Ward
auto.
probably could win the Heisman. So
Who's that? Sorry.
Cam Ward. He's
Cam
the favorite
Ward.
for the Heisman.
Cam Ward, you can go back and get. That's not necessarily, he's not necessarily part of this drop. Maybe there's more Cam Ward. There are more Cam Ward cards, you're right, coming as part of this drop, but there's other Cam Ward cards before that. Same with Milrow. So to me, the news, the breaking news of this drop is really Arch, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Because there's more Ewers, there's more Raiola. Leonard doesn't really have any, but I don't think he sells as well. So that's kind of why I'm boiling it. I'm boiling this play really down to Arch. I think that there's a lot of other plays in here that we can talk about, but I think the biggest takeaway is to make that Arch Manning play. And then if there's anyone else that you really, really like out there, like Lefty's talked about, Cam Ward, Dylan Raiola. I mean, Jeremiah Smith is a guy that I've bought a little bit of. Julian Sayin is a guy that I've bought a little bit of. I'm big on Jalen Milrow. I really, really think Jalen Milrow is going to materialize with some profits later on in the year. It's crazy that Arch Manning's or that Dylan Raiola's auto that we talked about out of 99, the 250, and is pre-selling for 400 when there's still some left at Panini. It just crazy. Shows you that's crazy. So let's say hello to some people. Yeah, we'll say hello to some people in the live chat. Scott Huff says 25 of which one? That would be the Arch Manning vertical AMA. Scott. So color match collect. Bouncy, David T. What's up? Michael Stula took our advice on the Caitlin Clarks. Let's go. You're making a lot of money, Michael. Who's your card guy? Eric G, Koa, everybody on Instagram. I'm not going to go through everybody on Instagram right now for the sake of time, but thanks for checking in with us. We love all of you. And of course, you're listening on Apple and Spotify as well. That's where most of you are. So if you're listening on Apple and Spotify, you're not getting the Arch Blue Viper 1 of 1. You're probably not, but maybe you still have a chance at an out of 99 auto, and you definitely should go get the AMA base, Arch Manning base.
How many out of these out of 99s are you going to pull right now in 35 minutes?
I could probably afford. I probably should buy 4, but I'll probably buy 2. I'll probably try to get 2. I mean, 4 is over $1,000. That's a little rich. I'll probably go 2.
That's a little rich.
That's a little rich. I'll probably go 2, Lefty, and then I'll probably go. I'll probably regret that because they'll probably each like 3x.
Yeah, they'll 3x.
But that's okay. And then I'll probably do the base. I mean, let's think about this, right? And let's use our Bo Nix and our Caleb Williams and all these other ones as a way to think through all this. Okay. So part of this that you and I have always talked about, which I don't think other sports card content creators really talk about, is like the amount of manpower that it then takes once you order the cards. Because ordering the cards, buying the cards is the easy, fun part. Waiting on them to get there, receiving, sorting, shipping, selling, shipping, all that stuff. That's the harder part. And then tracking, like, was this profitable? So that's what we do, and we try to help everybody else do at nooffseason.com. So, I mean, for me, like, I haven't done the full analysis yet, which I will do, and I'll make it live for premium members at nooffseason.com probably in the next, like, few weeks. But is the analysis on, like, all the Panini instant plays that I've made, and I'll include the tops now, and I'll break down, like, what did I make?
Such a good show.
That's going to be so much fun. I can't wait. It's like every moment that goes by that I'm not working on that gives me anxiety because I want to be working on that breakdown. And then I'm excited to do that show with you. So like, I think
like a Panini Instant only show at this point.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, and then we got to report back on how it went, right? So, I mean, we were a Sports Illustrated for Kids only show for a minute, so at least, but we're trying to help everyone lift up every single rock to help you guys find the opportunities to make money. So, this Panini Instant thing for me, I will just say anecdotally, Lefty, I've made sales and profit on the 2 Bo Nix cards, the 2 Caleb Williams cards. I'm really excited that I have the 2 Jaden Daniels cards in hand right now because he's starting to play very, very well and get a lot of hype after
that
Monday
game
night.
On Monday was crazy.
So I'm very, very excited to not only that these cards are moving in a pre-sale, I have most of them in hand already. Now that's not technically a pre-sale anymore. And people are buying like my Spencer Rattler cards. People have bought my Jordan Travis cards that I ordered from. I mean, so we're talking about backup quarterback, like second and third string quarterbacks in the NFL that are moving. And then you get the Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels. And then you get into the skill position players like Marvin and Neighbors. And now you got these college quarterbacks. I mean, this is the most excited I've been in a long time to be able to have this kind of inventory at the selling markers when the hype is actually happening. So that's why I'm hype on these instant plays, because we can actually get these things in our inventory while the hype is happening and move them. And we don't necessarily have to wait for Prism to come out or Optic to come out or whatever. And then we're waiting for another cycle when there's hype again. So I think that's the reason why this is all working. But you have to move quick, and you have to go watch the premium pod that you and I recorded a couple weeks ago, where we really go through all of how to do this with the instant and the pre-sale and all that stuff. But how are yours going? Do you have any concerns about any of this?
Yeah, I think I'm just looking at my eBay account right now, and I've been pre-saling whoops, not those ones. These ones right here, the Caitlin Clark's Panini. I've been pre-selling these and then pre-selling Bo Nix. Haven't had a whole lot of success yet for items sold. I've sold like 3 or 4 of them, but I also don't have the net, like the share of eBay viewers like you do. You know, I don't have as many sold as you. And they have sold, just not super well. So it's not like they're not selling. It's just not that they're flying off the shelves. And so I'm fine trickling those. You know, Caitlin Clark's a name that'll sell forever, indefinitely. And however many of those come in that I don't sell, I'll probably just grade them and then sell them there. You know, like that's not a very hard thing for me to do. The Bo Nix thing has been selling a lot slower. I actually have them in hand now, so I can start shipping them as soon as people start buying them. But they just haven't sold yet. So I think I might take a slow L on that one, just because ended up buying 50 rather than 25. But even if I
these grenades, right? Here are my grenades.
Yeah.
My Panini instant grenades. I've got
grenades as well.
Pretty much. I mean, I'm not waiting on many at this point.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about the Arch Manning drop in 30 minutes. I'm probably going to I might buy 4 of them, honestly. Especially like there's already one listed for $549 right now on eBay. If that one sells and I can double my money on all these, that would be pretty extravagant for me. So,
yeah, man. You know, I agree with what you're saying. I think there's going to be some that are slower to move, especially. I think the lessons I've learned is like I bought like 100 total Bo Nix cards. And that was probably my mistake. I think that might be the mistake, is that to sell 100 total Bo Nix cards is going to take a while. And good thing he had a good week 3, because now it's like, well, maybe it won't take as long as I thought. But in terms of like profit on the Caleb and the Jaden, and even some of the other quarterbacks that aren't as big of a name, where I didn't buy as many of them, it's going really well for me. So I think what the biggest, and I am like you're doing, I'm slipping maybe 5, 6, 7, or 10, depending on how many I have into grading submissions, because I think that's another thing is like, we got to think about the fact that we have these cards pretty early. And for rookie NFL quarterbacks, if you think about the way that the Wemby plays went and the way that the Caitlin Clark plays went with the Panini instance, to get them back in a PSA 10 in November, that's not going to suck. Even like, I mean, so to submit 10, 15 of some of these Caleb, Jaden, Bo, these guys, and even the Rayolas, for example, if you're buying like Rayola, Milrow, those guys of the base cards, Arch, right? Even if you don't sell them all in a pre-sale or sell them all when you have them in hand, not a bad idea to slip them into grading submissions, try to get some PSA 10s, and then you've got inventory later on in the season when other things are happening related to the playoffs for both, college and pro. So a lot going on. We can get into some more details in some future episodes. Bouncy is a new name in the live chat. Bouncy asking where you can get these at. I put the link for those of you who are live on youtube.com/Paul Hickey. I put the link in the chat. But if you go to paniniamerica.net, Bouncy, and then you go over to shop Panini Instant and then scroll down to NIL, college football. I think that's the whole like sitemap tree there. Paniniamerica.net, shop Panini Instant. Scroll down to NIL and then college football. Boom. There you go. And it's a little hidden. So maybe, Lefty, that's why these pre-sales are doing so well on eBay, because on eBay, It's not hidden. On eBay, you just search for the guy's name and it comes up. But if you're listening to the Sports Card Strategy Show and you know where to buy these directly from the manufacturer, you got a little arbitrage here, right?
True that. I mean, the fact that people are selling them for more than you can buy them for, significantly more than you can buy them for offline, means there's people just don't know where to look. And I'll be honest, Panini's website is not super, super clean. Like if you just click on the Panini website, you're just like, oh, okay, what's a bad egg? What is this? And then you go to shop, you have to go to Panini Instant, you have to scroll down to another page and another page. Then you got to go to football,
Yeah, the whole bad egg thing. They just got so much stuff going on. It's like
they're grasping for straws right now.
They are with the licensing going over to Fanatics. Panini is on some level they're grasping for straws. But I will say this, and I think Jason and I get into this in the interview on Monday's show, so stay tuned for that. Some of the moves are smart. Like I think this NIL thing is smart. I really, really do, because we're already buying it. I mean, they have to be making a lot of money just on the Sports Card Strategy Show audience.
Absolutely. I mean, is the way that this card did the interview, did he talk about like the way that the profit share breaks down?
No. And I probably could have or should have asked him that, but I told him we'd have some follow-up questions from the audience that I would try to have him back
that's
on
my
again.
follow-up question. I want to know if Arch or Dylan Raiola or whoever gets a share of some of this, or do they just sign them to a signing bonus? I would imagine if they're smart enough, they would take a signing bonus and a revenue percentage.
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and I don't know the answer, but I believe my educated guess would be that it totally depends on the athlete. Because if you're trying to sign Arch Manning, my guess is that it's probably what you just said, where it's like a massive amount of money up front plus a revenue share from this, but I have no idea. But on the NIL on college.paniniamerica.net, there's literally like women's volleyball also. So like you're not, no offense, but you're not going to necessarily give a third string women's volleyball player upfront money. She will probably be getting revenue share of whatever her cards sell for. So I think you're going to be having just like friends and family buying her cards most likely, which is great.
Still
right?
awesome. Yeah.
It's still awesome. Yeah. We've never had that before. So it's awesome. And one thing Jason and I talked too about is the Olympic sports, right? Like they're going to be launching more sports and more schools. Right now they only have the University of Texas, Nebraska, and Ohio State on the college.paniniamerica.net NIL site, which is very different than what we're talking about today. And they have two sports, volleyball and football. Now, if you think about all the Olympic sports that are played in college and how we sometimes prospect on Olympic cards leading up to the Olympics, that's going to give people a whole other place to go, and us a whole other place to go when we're trying to help people make plays leading up to an Olympics, to maybe look at collegiate swimmers, collegiate gymnasts, maybe collegiate, maybe there's collegiate tennis players who are going to be playing in Wimbledon or the US Open or French Open or something like that. And we can go back and get their college tennis, who knows, right? I don't know that much about tennis, so that might not be a possibility. But I think you guys can tell I'm pretty darn pumped about what Panini's doing. I think Topps is doing great things too with it. They just don't have any of the licensing yet. You've got Bowman U next. That does have the licensing. The problem with Bowman U next is that all of those guys already have first Bowmans. So I'm not going to go get a Jackson Dart, something or other when I could go get his Bowman Chrome U first auto cheaper than I would go get, try to buy a 20 pack of his non-auto Bowman. It's not the right situation currently happening, because I did go over and check Bowman U next for the Topps Now releases. It's just not the right card for the right player at the right time. The right card, some of the right cards for the right players at the right time are happening in 18 minutes and 20 seconds at paniniamerica.net. And if you're listening to this on Apple and Spotify later on, there's definitely going to be some of these cards still available, so go check them out. Lefty. Let's go through. I just want to talk real quick about my PSA orders, because I heard you and Turner talking some about it on Lefty cards. I know we're all doing a lot of grading. I'm doing a lot of grading, not only of my own cards, but also of nooffseason.com premium member cards. So those are grades popping left, right, and center right now for me. And I'm getting those out to the members. So if you're not grading your cards with nooffseason.com, you should, because ultimately you save money. So go check that out in your member dashboard. But my Panini National VIP promo pack, Caitlin Clark got a PSA 8. So that's not great. But and my Wemby got an 8 also. I think that those had some.
They're super hard to grade, man.
I
haven't seen any that were well graded.
How are those selling? I think you had told me that you and Turner had told me that the sealed packs were selling for $40.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's 38 in population of a PSA 9, and there's 3 higher than that. So there's 3 PSA 10s of the Caitlin Clark. So, I mean, these got a brutal representation. I mean, if you think about it, the
pack just sold for $83 yesterday on 17 bids. The pack with her in the front of it.
Oh yeah. I mean,
holy crap.
Yeah, I mean, had we held on to some of that stuff, we'd been. But I mean, I graded the Brink, I graded the Wemby, I graded the Caitlin Clark, and I graded the Reese, and so those are all. I'm actually have live auctions for 3 of them right now, and then 2 of them are pending auction with PSA orders. So
now I know PSA 8s don't sell well, but if you think about a PSA 8 Clark and a PSA 8 Wemby out of that pack, and the pack is selling for between $80 and $100 consistently, you've got 2 cards in that pack graded by PSA. I would think / hope that we could get at least $50 to $100 per PSA 8 there, which when you look at the grading fee as the real cost, then I think that's a pretty good profit. But
yeah, I mean, I think what's weird though is that the 8 from the Wemby sold on the 17th for $12.
Yeah, that sucks.
But I mean, some other ones sold for around that money too. I think, an 8 for a Brink sold for $13 and a Raw sold for $8. So it's these just don't have a whole lot of exposure right now. An Angel Reese 7 sold for $20, $18.50. I have an Angel Reese 10 out there right now. So it's like, it is what it is. I threw these out there because I think I'll get more than $20 for them, which is what I have invested in them. So,
yep. Now, from a formula-based raw to grade standpoint, I did win pretty big on my most recent grading submission. I submitted 3 Wembanyama Donruss optic bases, got 110. So that's really what the formula kind of banks on you doing. Now, from a Prism standpoint, I'm personally better at pre-grading Prism than any other cards because for whatever reason, I'm very good at telling the up, down, right, left, front, back centering, as well as like any other issues on the 2023 Prism releases for football and basketball. Also, I think in general, it was a good production run. The gem rates are pretty high. So I did get 2 out of 2 gems on the Wemby base 136 Prism. I also, here's where my big hits came in. I graded 2 Panini sealed cards, which is always a little risky, but I looked at it and I was like, how am I going to profit on these? We're going to get into this in a second. I'm starting to see the data is, I already knew this was happening, but the data is really starting to validate for me that the real best way to profit or to give yourself the best chance at a higher upside, that's the way I need to say this. It's not, you can profit from already graded or raw to grade, but to give yourself a chance at real upside, you have to go raw to grade, right? Because I had a 2020 Panini Contenders 125 rookie ticket auto of LaMelo Ball photo variation, Panini sealed. Now you get comps on that, and like that's what it's worth. So unless LaMelo Ball does something ridiculous, and even if he does something ridiculous, it doesn't always mean that his prices are going to go up. So it really takes like this perfect storm a lot of times for pricing to move enough for you to profit off of these comps. Well, that got a PSA 10. So now I have profit. Same thing with a Paolo Banchero 2022 Contenders Optic rookie ticket auto that was Panini sealed that I bought for just under $800 at the National. That came back a PSA 10. So now it doesn't matter really what LaMelo Ball or Paolo Banchero do or what Wemby does. When you get those PSA 10s, that's really, really how you're going to profit. And so following that formula will help you do it. Now, CJ Stroud 2023 Prism 339 base also got a 10. My Jared Goff that I got at the National got a 9, which is the Donruss Optic Blue out of 199, I believe. So a 9 on that. It looked way off center. So I'm counting that as a big win. You know, some other little fodder here. My 2024 Leaf National VIP pack Jaden Daniels from the it wasn't from the same Panini pack, obviously, but it was from like a second Leaf pack. That got a 10. I don't know how that got a 10, but it did. So feeling pretty good about some of the PSA grades for myself. And if you want my help, definitely, if you're a member of nooffseason.com, you can get that. So check that out. Lefty, how are your grading submissions going? Are you waiting on big stuff? You got anything back?
Yeah, I think my grading submissions have gone fairly okay recently. I got some kind graders when in the Wemby submission that I had. I really thought that cracked eye Wemby was going to come back a 9. I thought that was best case scenario 9. And it comes back a 10. So that's going to be 2x at least what I got it for, which is really good. And then I've got some kind graders in regards to those VIP plays that we talked about for the National. I got some 10s and 9s when you and Turner got 8s and 7s. So that was kind to me. Plus, I bought a Paige Beckers auto at the Dallas show that I saw a pockmark on, and I was like, okay, I'm going to drive this guy's price down because the pockmark is there. Ended up getting him down on an out of 99 to like 200-ish, 250. And it ended up grading a 9, which I thought for sure that was going to come back as an 8 or worse, and so got a kind grade there, and that's already selling for $750 as a 9 right now. So I'm going to make good money on both of these plays, enough to potentially pay for the whole grading fee for all the 20 cards that I submitted. And so the Caitlin Clark, the Wemby, and the Paige Beckers are going to push all these others to just being straight profit, which is going to be really nice. You always like having good profit back in your hands. And I know I talked about this on the Lefty Card Show, but I'll reiterate it again. The PSA vault to listing eBay thing, I am aware that the downside is my eBay channel does not grow. But my gosh, Paul, is it just so convenient for me? I don't have to do anything. I don't have to worry about shipping. I have way more eyeballs on some of my big cards, and they're taking an extra 4% out for all of the things that they give me back in return. I'm so in. I've made almost $2,000 this month from this. And I would have had to really stress over that many cards being sold in my own personal life. I've been in and out of town this month and all sorts of stuff. I haven't had to worry about any of that. PSA has taken care of all of that concern. So I am so in on, obviously I'm wearing the hat, so it's I'm so in on this PSA vault thing. They keep good record. It's easy. It's it's good to keep it valuable. I haven't even shilled my auctions other than the $1 bid I put on a Steph Curry card.
I heard you do that. I was like, uh-oh, Lefty.
My $1 shill, look out. And so, I just think it's so convenient for me. I will beat the drum of, obviously, I know that it doesn't build my own eBay channel, and that is the price I'm paying. But there's so much good return. And for me that has a full-time job doing other things, and I'm not always in the same city and things like that, it's so easy for me to just put it on PSA and have them handle it. I'm so all in on it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I would be all in on it too. But I think one thing that's even better than that is the service that we're offering at nooffseason.com, where if you're bouncy and you're international, if you don't have the time, that Lefty, it's saving you a lot of time, but you have graded with PSA a lot before. You have you know what you're doing in terms, you're a pro when it comes to grading and selling on eBay. So you understand how much time this is saving you. And if you're not quite where Lefty is, it's even easier for you to pay the nooffseason.com subscription fee, get our content, and then grade with us, because essentially you get the same thing and have to do even less work. Because
it's not only PSA.
Yeah, we have the ability. That's right. You have you're not limited to just PSA. It includes PSA, even what Lefty's talking about, but it also includes a lot of other marketplaces and grading companies. So, yeah, no, I love it though. I love it for you. I think it's definitely something that I would be doing if I didn't go ahead and commit all into what we're doing here at nooffseason.com for our premium members. So again, I know a lot of people Bouncy in the live chats, well, I have to get a big order into a Panini because I pay international shipping. Cool. If you were a nooffseason.com member, you wouldn't have to do that. I could be your vault essentially, which is what a lot of the premium members do. So it's not for everybody. And I don't want to push anybody into doing things that they don't want to do. It's just, there's a lot of good options out here. And certainly the PSA vault to eBay account scenario is still a good one. Lefty, we've got 6 minutes and 39 seconds before we need to essentially buy these cards probably on the show and let people know what we're doing on the show here. But let's talk real quick. I want to talk about how hard it's been for me personally to see profit from already graded cards. And I think it's because maybe I'm selling them too early, or maybe I've just bought the wrong ones, or maybe I'm still holding the right ones and haven't sold them yet. It's not that I'm losing money on the already graded cards. I'm just breaking even on most of them. And I think it's because the market for a lot of these already graded cards, even when it looks good to go ahead and buy into them, the market does go up the way that we think it's going to go up. But after fees and everything, it's kind of a break even. And I also think the market responds only after certain types of big performances. I think that what I'm seeing is sort of a pattern of if you're an already elite player and you go on a monster like 3-game run, I think you start to see a solid performance spike. I think if you're a nobody, like nobody's ever heard of, it's not that you're a nobody, but it's that you haven't had your coming out party yet. And then you have a coming out party, you go on a massive spike. I think if you're anywhere in between that, like if you're a Justin Herbert or if you're a Jason Tatum, right? Like you've accomplished something already. Now, Herbert hasn't accomplished what Tatum's accomplished, but he's been around long enough. People know who he is. Like we didn't see Justin Herbert's prices go up after the Chargers started 2-0. I mean, maybe that's because he wasn't really involved. It was more of the running game, and maybe that's a bad example. But even with a guy like Jason Tatum, you just haven't seen a lot of the like quote unquote performance spikes. Shedeur Sanders is one. I mean, say what you will about Colorado, but Shedeur Sanders has played really, really well, and it doesn't get any more exciting than a Saturday night island game, 0 seconds left on the clock, touchdown pass, and then win in overtime. And yeah, his pricing went up, but if you're holding an already graded PSA 10 of his card, it doesn't really go up enough after that type of a performance to really make money. And so it leads me into this conversation that I want to have real quick with the top sports card opportunities to buy, graded, and flip. I think this is the hardest thing to do, to go buy an already graded card of somebody who's already established and then expect for it to go up. Maybe like a Justin Fields, if you would have done that 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe he's up a little bit enough to make some money. But I even looked at his value, and it's not like it's taken off. So I just think it's getting harder and harder to do this. And so I wanted to kind of go through a few cards real quick in the next 3 minutes. Some that I want to see who you're more confident in than the other guy in these two scenarios. One's football, one's basketball. Jordan Love 2020 Optic Hollow 154 PSA 10, or Brock Purdy 2022 Prism Base 353 PSA 10. So the formula says that Brock Purdy actually has a higher likely ROI of 65% if you were to buy in at $80 right now. Jordan Love, the formula says if you buy in at 181, which is down like $50 from where this was, you have a 46% ROI from where the formula thinks this card could get to. And I just want to know, like, which one are you more, and I think at this point you're predicting what how the market is going to react based on how these players perform over the next, say, 3 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to use something that in this discussion, I'm going to use something that we've talked about previously to how to gauge card markets. I just acquired Brock Purdy in 2 fantasy leagues because I think that he's a buy low candidate right now because of all of the offensive question marks that the rest of his team has. When some of these guys start coming back and getting healthy and all, like when this full rhythm is back, I think this 49ers team is very similar to the one that we saw go deep last year, and so Brock Purdy is still a great quarterback, and he's still a quarterback people love to love, like because of his narrative of being Mr. Irrelevant and things like that. Jordan Love can be there too, but I think I would just rather invest in the more solid team, which is the 49ers. I believe in Kyle Shanahan a little more than I believe in the Green Bay Packers. So I'm going Purdy here over Love, and it's even more encouraging that 65% return on investment rather than 46. I mean, I'll take it all the way around.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a good conversation because I'd go Jordan Love. I'm just a little bit more confident that 2020 Optic Hollow goes back up closer to $300 where it was headed before his injury. And it looks like his market did already bump up just a little bit when he was warming up on Sunday. And so if he does, like, we know he's going to come back. He could come back this week. And so that's
the fact
my reason. Like, it just doesn't have to do anything other than him coming back and
15 seconds.
having a week. So, more confident or less confident in Scoot Henderson Prism Silver PSA 10 at a 48 ROI percentage, or Jason Tatum 2017 Prism Base PSA 10 at a 54% ROI. And I know you're going to be talking while you're refreshing PaniniAmerica.net and adding these cards to your cart. I'm doing it right now.
I'm trying to as
high
well.
volumes. Please retry. Son of a gun. Got to keep refreshing. I'm going to just try to add whatever. Oh, got one into my cart. Let's keep going here. Getting one Arch Manning auto. We'll get back to the Scoot Tatum debate here in a second. Lefty and I are buying cards live on the Sports Card Strategy Show. I'm going to try to get one of these Jaguar out of 10s. Okay, got it into the cart. I don't know what to do. Do I check out right now with this, or do I keep add stuff to the cart? I'm going to go at product is unavailable. I'm going to go to cart. I'm going to go to cart. Dang it. The 99 already sold out. Are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah, because your boy got 4 of them, baby. Let's go.
I'm going Jaguar out of 10 on the Arch. I think I got it. Let me check this fucker out real quick. Jaguar out of 10, Arch Manning. Let's go.
Wow, this was insane.
Got it. Okay, I'm going back to try to... I can't believe the 99s are gone. I had a 99 in my card, everybody, and then I went to add another one with the Jaguar, and it was gone. The 99s were gone. The Sports Card Strategy Show is all over it.
Bro, you can still get a jungle out of 25, though.
I got one.
Did you get
no, I got the Tiger. You're right. Okay, let me try to get the jungle. We're going to have a little...
It's a little extra money, but it's still out of 25.
This is going to be a new...
Out of one of one sold.
Okay, I got the out of 10. It's actually kind of a cool color match. I'm going to get the jungle, too. Separate order. Doesn't matter because it's free shipping.
That's great. I hope I actually got 4, and they're not going to be like, you actually didn't get them.
Well, does it say order confirmed?
Yeah.
This is going to be a new competition on the Sports Card Strategy Show. Like, who was it? Not only who was able to get what, but like, what did they end up then selling it for?
Yeah.
Okay, I got a jungle out of 25.
I got 4 of the out of 99s. Look at this.
Okay, so your order, what was your order total? Okay, so $1,100 for Lefty. Is there anything I want to go back and order? I don't know. Well, the base. I probably want to get.
I'm going to go back and get the base, but.
Yeah, but obviously that wasn't.
Scott Huff also missed out on the 99s, but he did get a jungle as well.
Okay, so I got one Jaguar out of 10, and that was $658.49. Tennessee sales tax is kind of insane. And then one jungle out of 25. The Jaguar out of 10 kind of looks like a color match.
Yeah, I'll
with
give
the
it
University of Texas, which is pretty cool. The jungle out of 25, $438.99. I'm pretty stoked about this. Getting back in on Arch.
I'm jacked about it. I'm like considering getting a jungle too. Like,
yeah, I mean, I'm bummed I didn't get the
$1,000.
base, dude. I thought that was a great deal, but Cam Ward White Tiger sold out. Cam Ward Blue Viper sold out. Cam Ward basically sold out of everything except for the base. I think that's pretty. I think his pricing was Jalen. There's a Jalen Milroe Jaguar and blue, like a Jalen. Oh, that's because it's a non-auto. Jalen Milroe Blue Viper non-auto still available. Jalen Milroe Jaguar out of 10 auto still available. And for those of you new to this, like, yes, it does sell out this fast for these guys.
I also just went ahead and got 25 of the base card as well.
And I'm going to do that. Okay, all of the Arch autos are sold out. So that makes me feel good in my ability to...
That makes me feel great.
Sell you should. It should make both of us feel really good. And then, I'll go ahead and... Well, I mean, everybody still has 5 days left, basically, to get the base Arch.
I wonder how fast this one on eBay is going to sell for 500.
I mean, we have so many options now, Lefty.
Yeah.
So many options and what I think is cool is they put actually his real signature sort of superimposed on the vertical ones, whereas the horizontal ones, that's clearly not his signature in that
It's
photo.
like Arch Manning.
I think it says Archie too, which is not really, it's not what he goes by. It might actually be his real name, but it doesn't go by Archie. Looks like it says Archie. It just looks weird. Okay.
Should I list one of them on eBay right now?
Yeah, absolutely.
What would
Why
you
not?
list it for?
$550.
All right.
$550. Buy it now. So this is what Lefty's doing, everybody. In case I know you're probably wondering, he's gonna take the photo from the website, and he's gonna use that as his photo, and he's gonna call it a pre-sale. And it's an out of 99 auto. And so if he pre-sells it, I mean, in his title and description, he's gonna put that it's a pre-sale. He's not gonna be able to mail it to people until he gets it. And it's up to you as to whether or not you want to create a new shipping scenario within your eBay. You don't have to. I've been able to print a PDF of the shipping label if after somebody buys it, and then just tell them, thanks for pre-ordering this from me. I'm going to keep you updated and ship it to you as soon as I get it from Panini. And I have not had any kind of penalty from eBay or anything on that. So Lefty's going to do some version of that and see what happens. But I mean, he could double his money here in I don't know. Someone's probably not going to buy it right away. Maybe we get an update from Lefty next week. Maybe he doubles his money in 7 days on an arch, just one of his 4 Arch Manning cards. So I'll probably do something similar on the Jungle and on the Jaguar. And I'm just going to go ahead and take screenshots right now of those cards while I can to potentially list them in a pre-sale and see what happens. And back to the discussion. I'll talk about this while Lefty's listing on eBay here. What I was talking about earlier before we had to rush to buy those cards is from a basketball stamp. So I talked about a little bit why I picked Jordan Love over Brock Purdy. I think I tend to look at selling markers as what's the least amount that has to happen for a player's card value to go up. And it really is day by day, week by week. And with Brock Purdy, the Niners lost a heartbreaker to the Rams. He's played very well in spite of a lot of challenges this year with injuries on that team. And the Niners, still project to likely be a playoff team and be in the mix in spite of this kind of unexpected start. And so to me, it just seems like, even though the formula says that Brock Purdy, his ROI is a little bit better than Jordan Love, what the formula doesn't always take into account is things like, okay, Jordan Love is about to come back almost this week, potentially, from his injury. His Optic Holo PSA 10 is down to 181. To materialize the profit on Brock Purdy, I probably have to wait longer than Jordan Love. So we don't, in the formula, I think that both cards have the upside that the formula says it has. And I don't think that the formula is wrong in either case, but I think it's personal preference on do you want to wait for Brock Purdy to make a playoff run? And we've already seen him make a playoff run. So what does that really mean for the value of this card versus Jordan Love, who in my mind just has to come back from an injury and play well in 1 or 2 games for this Optic Holo to really go back to where it was in the market and potentially even higher. So I think I might not get to the 46% ROI that the formula projects, but I might get to a 25% ROI which is better than a lot of the already graded plays that I've been making. So that's kind of why I picked Jordan Love, because I just don't think I have to wait as long. Now on the basketball side, I've got Scoot Henderson Silver Prism PSA 10 versus Jason Tatum 2017 Prism PSA 10, both rookie cards. Scoot has a 48% ROI at $108 buy-in. Jason Tatum has a 54% ROI at $104 buy-in. They're almost exactly the same buy-in and almost exactly the same ROI percentage. In my mind, though, we've seen Jason Tatum compete for and also win an NBA championship with almost a triple-double in the clinching game. So it doesn't get much better than that. Yeah. So when I look at Scoot Henderson, we haven't seen him do anything. So in my mind, what is it going to take for each of these ROIs to materialize? Scoot Henderson, not much. Jason Tatum, he would have to do a lot and more for it to materialize. So I could be wrong in the way that I'm thinking about this, but I kind of want to turn the already graded show moving forward into more of a discussion about what is and isn't working related to buying already graded cards, and less about just a list that I give you off of what the formula says, just because I think it's better sports card strategy for everybody from a already graded standpoint to be thinking through, okay, yes, the formula says that there's a lot of opportunity here, but what actually has to happen to move this card up in value? And I'll probably be tweaking the formula a little bit more as we go from an already graded standpoint, versus I think we're locked in AF on the raw to grade standpoint. Absolutely. For the most part. So Lefty, what's your take, I think, on this entire discussion? And then using that Scoot versus Tatum as an example, even if you want to go back to the Love versus Brock as an example, you see where I'm going here, right? I mean, it's like you make a good play, it's sound, it makes sense, but you still break even. How do we eliminate that break even on this already graded thing? And how do we move more towards a path to profit?
Well, I comparing the two, usually I have actually made better money in my grade to grade. Like that's where I've really done most of my success, because I just have never been super good at buying raw cards and materializing them into a 10 on a consistent basis. Now, when I have made plays that have profited, when I've actually like cashed in on some of those things, they have been huge raw to grade profits. But for a lot of the part, I have broken even on a lot of my raw to grade plays, because when I'm bulk ordering Chrome Firsts or things like that, there's so many people on eBay that are already scalping through the cards, and they're just selling me the ones that aren't going to gem. And so like, it's just hard to acquire some of those gem mint cards. So when I buy a PSA 10, I know it's a PSA 10 already, and so that's where I think the craft of sports card investing is really like made. When you have the raw to grade scenario, like a 5-year-old could follow the formula and be like, yep, just going to buy these and I'm going to grade them and then we're just going to sell them. And like, there's a clear, like, you don't have to wait on a selling marker. It's just bang, 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 bang. Like as soon as you get them, you sell them and you're going to make profit. The craft of like watching somebody and investing in somebody and seeing and scouting and stuff is a little more in the grade to grade, because you do have to have a selling marker, old school style, like what we used to do. Like it's less like set it and forget it, non-emotional. It's kind of more like, hey, I see an undervalued card here and I'm going to move into that. Particularly why I think Brock Purdy is my choice over Jordan Love, because there's so many exterior things that could go in Brock's favor. Now, in the Scoot Henderson to Jason Tatum, it's not really fair. I'm not a huge Tatum fan. I made a call on Tatum, 3 years ago that worked out. But other than that, it was just like Tatum has generally underexcited me. And so, but also Scoot Henderson is on a team that has a bunch of guards, that like is not really like, is he going to pop off? Is he going to end up materializing into a guy that they thought? And so I think I'm going to break down more. I was looking at the graded to graded list on the website earlier today, and there's so many football players on there. And I'm not looking to get into football players right now. I'm looking to get into basketball players right now. And so like some of the guys that I'm really looking for are further down the list because I'm not looking to get into Tua right now. I'm not sure if he's ever even going to play a football game again. And not that I, like, which would be a great opportunity to buy low on him because there is some speculation, but I think there's a lot of risk on that handle. Let's just put it that way. So I want to go further down the list to some of the basketball players from a graded to graded scenario and maybe look at some of the undervalued players. For instance, I still believe that the Thunder are going to be really good this year. And I think that Shea's getting a lot of the attention on the Thunder. So why don't you use a secondary player that could get secondary hype from that as well and use Chet and Jalen Williams, for instance? So it's like that's probably not on the formula, but that's where Kendall's brains formula goes. And I think if we could tweak that to look for possible opportunities for undervalued players, which I don't know how you can analytically put that through eBay data.
That's essentially, I mean, the formula is that, and the formula, like basically, so everybody understands it, we run as many cards as we can through it. And it identifies undervalued cards currently based on previous sale price. And if it's a player that doesn't have that previous sale price, it looks for similar players in similar scenarios who have had that sale price. And then it prioritizes them by like what's down, like I think like what's down the most with the most upside, but that is the ROI number, and factored into the ROI number is like all of your fees and everything. So like if you for example, like you can't buy this Jordan Love Optic Hollow 2020 PSA 10 for $181 and sell it for $220 because it's probably going to be a break even after all the marketplace fees. And so the formula accounts for that. But so like if it tells you that there's a like this Jordan Love has a 46% ROI that I talked about earlier, that's going to be a true ROI off of buying it for $181 and then selling it for $330, which is where the formula thinks it can get to basically during this football season or within the next 12 months, essentially is how it looks at it. So I think that, and I think Lefty, you're right to think of it the way that you're thinking of it. And I like this discussion. I just think for each one of these plays, it's what I'm learning is it's not necessarily as easy as saying, okay, this one has the highest ROI. It's more about, it has the highest ROI, but
will it get there?
What's the context around when that ROI could potentially happen? For example, Mac Jones is on here, right? Well, it's going to take not only a Trevor Lawrence either injury or benching, but it's going to take Mac Jones like probably playing pretty well, right? Now Dak Prescott's on
this
here
week and he fumbled the ball immediately. So
yeah, and so like that's hard to all of a sudden update. Do we just delete that card off of the formula, or do we keep it there and let everybody understand, okay, there's this context around it? Another example is like Tyrese Halliburton base prism PSA 10. By all accounts, that seems to be a pretty safe card to go buy for $50 and then sell for $77, and you get a 23% ROI. But what if the market doesn't necessarily respond that way to Tyrese Halliburton, and now all of a sudden it's a $60 card? So you're up on paper, but you're down, and you're, because after fees and things like that. And so I think with the raw to grade, you're going to make an ROI based on the grades that you get, and it's going to be positive. It may not, it's really only going to be the most positive if you get that 10, but on the already graded, everything could go right for you in terms of your player prospecting, but you may not, for whatever reason, the market might not respond. Like Dak Prescott, Donruss base PSA 10, at this point, he's going to have to do a heck of a lot, I think, to get that card back up to $89.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that something that I should adjust the formula for like every single day on that projected average sale price on the already graded thing? Or is that something that we look at the historical data and we go, no, well, that actually sold for that, so it could get back up to there, but we have to add some more context around it. I think that's where I'm just kind of opening up the discussion.
Yeah.
And with you're looking for basketball, I get that. I mean, I think Scoot Henderson, on one hand, we've seen players like him not have to do a whole lot to see their card prices rise, which makes it different than prospecting. Like it's a little bit different than like Cam Thomas. All Cam Thomas, now it was a lot, but all Cam Thomas had to do was have a few good games. And all of a sudden, like his market 20, 30x. But if Jason Tatum has a few good games, his market's not going to do that. It's going to stay exactly where it is. So I think that's where it's a little bit tricky on the graded to graded side.
Yeah, you almost have to go for the second or third layer athlete because it's kind of like a penny stock. A penny stock can move 100x, or a blue chip could move 3%, like, and it'd be like, wow, it's a great day, personally, I want to get in on the 100x.
Yeah. Now, one thing I'll say just to kind of round out this discussion is if you were to go and buy a Joe Burrow Prism Base 307 PSA 10 for $100 right now, shows it's a 76% ROI per the formula, because I think we all think $220 as a projected average sale price sometime in the next 12 months based on historical data is pretty reasonable. Now, Turner and I are waiting day after day for that to go back in the right direction. But what I will say is, as the minute that 76% ROI goes down to like a 30% ROI and then a 0% ROI or a negative 10% ROI, that's a good sign for you if you bought it at the 76% ROI. So if you're a premium member at nooffseason.com and you're kind of wondering, what does it mean when one of my already graded cards goes down the list, but I already bought it? That's a good thing, because it means that the target cost went up. And so now that the target cost went up, that means there was a comp that went up. And so now you're in a good spot. Well, so
yeah,
I think that there's the thing with the already graded formula is I still think it's the best tool to help you make decisions and mitigate risk. But based on my experience now, after using both the raw to grade and the already graded formula for like almost the last like 8 or 9 months since it launched, I'm more confident making raw to grade plays, just simply because a lot of the already graded plays, to your point earlier, like it is more of a raw player prospecting thing combined with understanding how the market responds to different scenarios. The sports card market specifically responds to different scenarios based on that. So, anyway, anything else you want to add on your thoughts there?
No, I mean, like you hit it on the head. It's not as an easy of a translation. It kind of, you add a little bit of sauce in there, and that's kind of what we've been doing over the last 5 years. And it just creates more learning environments, which is always good for people that are trying to get better and better.
Yeah, no easy way to make money flipping sports cards. It's a grind. And the already graded show, we talk about already graded cards every Wednesday. So this is that show. And I just figured, rather than go through a list of, hey, these are our top opportunities and here's why, I think it's good to pull back a little bit, have a discussion, not only about like other things we're doing outside the formula, like we did earlier on in the show, but also how do we really try to hone in on these already graded plays? Because the formula is a great tool for that, but it's not always going to make profit. It's probably, more than anything else, going to help you mitigate risk and give you a list of cards that if things happen in the real world the right way, you could make some serious money. Anthony Edwards Prism Silver PSA 10 is probably my best example ever, let alone in the last year, of cards that I've bought in this manner, where it's like, this card is underpriced at $500-$600 in September. All he has to do is have a really good playoff series and this thing's going to double. That happened, but had he had a good playoff series, but not a really good playoff series, it probably would have maxed out at about $650, which for a lot of people would have been a break even. So kind of hence my point of, some special things really do have to happen if it's one of the elite athletes. To your point earlier, if it's one of the second or third tier guys or one of the top prospects who hasn't really done anything yet, but has that high name recognition, draft capital, you could be onto something. So I will be on to the Music City Collectibles show this weekend in Franklin, Tennessee, just outside of Nashville. Anybody who's in the area or will be coming into the area should definitely go check it out. Stop by our booth. I'll have some giveaway items for you. We'll make some deals and hang out a little bit. Lefty, my strategy, I'm going to try to sell some Will Levis cards here in the Nashville area.
Okay. Okay.
Because it's not looking good for Mr. Levis.
No,
in my opinion, I think I'm at the point where it's like we should probably start listing his cards, bringing them to a show in the Nashville area could maybe help me. I don't have a whole lot of them. I've just got a few Will Levis cards, so I'm looking to avoid the eBay fees on my Will Levis cards. And then I will be bringing all of the Panini instants. Like, I mean, having inventory of Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix right now on a Sunday when they could be having a good day, or on the Saturday when people are just hype about him. So
throw it out there.
And you know, there are two sides of the coin. Levis, I'm trying to cut my losses. With Caleb, Jaden, Bo, it's time. It's time to move them. You know, like people should want them. And I'm at like a under $4 per card cost on all those cards. So if I can sell each one for $5 a piece, even though on eBay I might be able to sell them if I wait longer for 15 or something like that, you don't have to pay fees. It's cash. So I think that could be a good way to move these instants if you got them in hand right now, and I'll report back.
Caitlin Clark has a playoff game tonight, so look out.
So you'll be glued to your streaming platform.
I will
Caitlin
be.
Clark.
Fever versus the Sun. It's game 2. It's elimination game. If she wins tonight, could be all for the marbles on Friday.
I mean,
I expect them to win tonight.
Caitlin Clark, if Caitlin Clark has a big playoff performance and the Fever end up winning the series and advancing, I mean,
that would be electric for our prices.
Just absolutely nuts. I mean,
I don't think this sports is rigged, but if it is, Caitlin Clark's winning this series.
Yeah. I can't comment on that. I don't think it is. I worked in both leagues. I don't think it is.
Great.
But
that gives me hope.
But the sky's the limit on Caitlin Clark. I mean, it really is. I think it's been a big win for all of us that have had some kind of play related to Caitlin Clark. So if she wins, if she doesn't win, I think her prices probably don't fall too much. And if you're grabbing any of these Panini instant card, I mean, I think the thing you have to be careful about, I said it with Arch Manning earlier, I think you have to be careful with Caitlin Clark about buying these cards on the secondary market right now, but that's different than the Panini Instant. Lefty and I are going into this Panini Instant scenario. That's where you're getting them at a really, really low cost per card from the manufacturer because you're buying them in bulk and then you're flipping them on the secondary market. I would beware of Caitlin Clark's secondary market purchases. I'd go all in on these Panini Instant things. Lefty, how do you feel about like the one, she has the newest one where it's like the back of her jersey? What are we doing? I mean, I've never been one to really care too much about the design of the card as long as it sells well. But when you're trying to determine all these Panini Instant cards to buy, to some extent, you do have to take a look at what the photo is and if it's vertical or horizontal and all this stuff. And I just don't know how I feel about like the back of someone's jersey on an instant card when there's all these other cards competing with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough the more that we do this because Caitlin Clark's like big sales are still the Panini instants that are still driving the market, or is the draft night card. Like I just eBayed Panini Instant Caitlin Clark, and it's still draft night. You know, like that is seeming to be the card to have for her right now. So, I mean, my Panini Instants that I got the other day that are the triple double announcement, or like the record breaking announcement, those aren't selling as well as the other ones are. So we'll see.
Yep. I think that's good. That's actually a good relief to hear that not every single Caitlin Clark card is selling like those draft night cards, because at some level there has to be some method to the madness when you have such supply hitting the market of a player. Even Caitlin Clark has to go down a little bit. And
I mean, 45,000 of these draft night cards.
They printed 40,000 of them. The PSA 10 pop count has to be pretty significant, because most of those people that most of the people that I've talked to, and myself included, had a pretty high high gem rate. I know yours wasn't super high. You still did well on the play, but I mean, there has to be a lot of 40,000. There has to end up at least a pop 5,000 PSA 10. I would think. I'd be shocked if it's
yeah,
not.
I think last time I looked, it was like somewhere around 4,000 or 5,000.
So pretty easy card to find. It's crazy that thing keeps going up. But
yeah,
Caitlin Clark, there you have it. Lefty,
love her.
It's just there's a lot of ways to make money flipping sports cards. We're just trying to help everybody kind of sift through and be strategic about what they're doing, synthesize information, take action where appropriate. And I know people are going to have a lot of questions regarding this episode and a lot of comments. So drop a comment at youtube.com/Paul Hickey. Best place to ask a question, nooffseason.com/ask. Lefty, anything else you want to add before I hit everybody with the outro?
I just would like to point out that I Googled, or I researched the amount of PSA 10s of that card, and it's 2,194. So significantly less than I thought it was going to be.
Thanks for the pop count there. I mean, I think you see that get to 5,000 pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
That's my guess. But we'll see. We're looking at data all the time. Maybe we'll report on Wednesdays.
Maybe there's a raw to grade play with that card.
There probably is. I mean, we probably need to run that one through the formula.
There we go.
Again, you guys can go to nooffseason.com and you can run cards through our raw to grade formula yourself, like that Caitlin Clark card. And we'll see you again soon, everybody. Let's go make some money. Thanks so much for being here with us on the Sports Card Strategy Show. To connect with us further, please subscribe to the YouTube channel at youtube.com/Paul Hickey. Please also give us a follow on Instagram at Sports Card Strategy and on X at No Off Season Card. We also have a Discord that you could join at sportscardstrategy.com. Everyone, I'm Paul Hickey. For the rest of us here at nooffseason.com, have a great day. We'll see you again soon.